Morning, morning. Good morning. Morning, everybody. Thank you very much. The stage is too far away, man. Let me first of all thank all of you for being here this morning on a very important occasion. Today, I'm here not to rehash all that we have done, but I'm here to talk to you seriously about your future, but particularly the future of food production and agriculture across our country, but in particular here in Region 3 today. And we are in the process of crafting the strategy, finalizing the strategy for the next 5 years. And we have various ideas that we are testing, ideas that we are putting forward, but we want you also to share your ideas, to share some of the things that you think is relevant to your region's development. Let me say to you that agriculture and food production is not a one-size-fits-all. Agriculture and food production is about specific policies and measures depending on the competitive advantage of each and every region. That is why we've been going through regions all across the country to address this issue of agriculture and food production, but with a specific development strategy for every single one of our region. Because the aim is to position Guyana as the leading producer of food for the entire region, but not just food in its raw form. Important in the production of food is a value creation, adding value to what we produce, ensuring that what we produce give the maximum yield, the maximum productivity, and maximum returns to our farmers. So today is about the future. It's about discussing with you plans and programs for that future. And how do we build this future in a strong and sustainable way? It's about how do we empower agriculture farmer groups. How do we put more power back in your hands? How do we put machinery, equipment? How do we put assets in your hands so that you will take control of your own assets, your own production, your own development? These are the things that keep me up at night, keep this government up at night. Creating the enabling investment that will create the new wave of development. Our development strategy is not an oil and gas strategy. It is a holistic strategy for economic diversification. It is about empowerment. It is about land ownership. It is about creating wealth. It is about enhancing opportunity. And it's about building productivity and competitiveness. These are the elements. These are the elements of our development strategy. So yes, the investment in drainage and irrigation, the fact that your children writing 8 subject CXC can get it free of cost, the fact that Your children can get free university education. The Because We Care grant. The old age pension that we're giving now that is higher than more than 70% of the workers in some of the largest countries in the world, that will continue to increase. These are things that are already there. And you can trust the People's Progressive Party Civic of giving more, not taking back. Your children will get more. Women will get more. More investment will be made in drainage and irrigation. The elderly will get more. You will get more grants, more support, direct support to our fisherfolk, our farmers, our women, the elderly. These are things that are given. These are not the exciting things, because you can expect that from the People's Progressive Party. We won't take away, we will keep giving you more and more of what you're getting already. But a strategy in bringing down interest rate for housing from 8% to 3.5% to boost home ownership, reduce the cost of financing, and giving you less costly loans. Those are the things that will create transformation in your families, in your communities. So this morning is about that big picture. It's about this vision that is ahead of us, that requires hard work. Not fanciful things. It is what is at risk in this vision. It's about fiscal policies, monetary policies, development and infrastructure programs and plans that create wealth. It's about a strategy. It is not guesswork. You don't wake up one morning and believe you can walk into the president's office and be president. Look at Vice President Jack Dale. From the late 80s, all his life in public service. Policy making is not a race car driving. It has depth. It requires skills. From 17 years old, I'm in the public sector. It's understanding how programs and policies work. It's crafting fiscal policies, monetary policies that respond to the economic shocks and economic circumstances. It's not about walking in and taking all the money in the treasury and hand it out, bam, 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 bam. And what happened after that? The next generations and generations of Guyanese would live in poverty. You don't have to go far. Look around us. Look at our neighbors. Countries that were very, very rich, that used to look down upon Guyana. Today, their citizens are coming here to invest. Their citizens are coming here to get a future, when for decades we were not even recognized as a people in their eyes. This managing a country is serious business. Managing a country is serious business. Your children's future, your family future is serious business. It's not guesswork. So today, I want to discuss some of the plans, some ideas with you for food production and agriculture expansion in this region. And I want to hear from you also. We have today rice farmers, or fisherfolks, cash crop farmers. Those are three categories that we have here also today. And let me say to our fisherfolk, just as we support rice farmers, we will support you. Direct transport is something that we'll continue to do to subsidize and enhance your income base. So you don't have to come forward and tell me about direct transport and cash grant. That is a given. In the coming months and years ahead, you can expect that from us. I want us to talk about the big strategies, the big things today. And let me start by telling you a few of these things. In the last 4 plus years, We have given out just in excess of 1,000 agricultural leases in this region. But there is a problem. There are two problems. One is that you can't get new lands without investment. You can't get new lands without investment in drainage and irrigation to make the lands productive. So at the moment, we have a lot of farmers who want new lands, that's one, on one hand. And on the second hand, we have a lot of farmers who have lands, but they can't do anything with the land because there is no infrastructure to give them access to that land and to open up that land and to farm that land. Am I not right? So there are two challenges that we have to address. And then we have the existing farming lands in which cost of production is high because of the challenges you have in transportation from the farm to the market. That is because most of it is still earthen dams. So that's the third issue. So let me tell you the strategy on these three issues. The first issue is right now we are completing an audit of all the farm to market access dams that we have all across the region. And we're going to set aside $50 billion to start with to fix all of those farm to market access dams into all weather hard surface roads. And that is to start with. That would reduce the cost of transportation. That will bring greater efficiency from the farm to the market. That will reduce the spoilage of your produce. Am I not right? Then the second issue, and I'll give you a full hint of the strategy ahead. The second issue is the persons who have land now, whether it's in the second depth, but you can't access the land. How is it we're going to give you this access? And let me tell you, the new highway from Scootnard to Friesland, the new highway to Parika, and the opening up of the all-weather road in the first phase, the Del Conte Road link. That is the first phase of investment. And what will this do? But that's not all. We have the Sand Hill to Macaura Road link that will be connected to the Del Conte Road from Timeri, opening up all the backlands in Region 3. Then the Del Conte Road will give easier access to a direct transport link for places like Bonasika, Aliki, Lanabali, Bishibali to Road End, opening up all the way to Hamper Bay from Parika. All of these things will create accessibility to your lands. So we have an estimate of about 75,000 acres of land where people have transport or lease or something. These are lands owned by people. But it is idle land right now because they don't have access to that land. These investments will open up those lands, so you will now have access to those lands. But access is not all that you need, because you will have access, but the capital investment to develop those lands will be incredibly high. So the government will form different agricultural districts with you, and we will assign machinery to those districts, and they will help with the capital development of those lands for the farmers. So that cost will be reduced. So immediately, the government will be supporting the opening up of more than 75,000 acres of land that is idled now into production. Bringing those land into production. The third aspect is new lands. So this road that goes from Sandhill, the Sandhill Road, that road will open up the entire second and third depth in Region 3. And then we have the Del Conte Road that will do the same thing. So it is estimated that these investments will open up hundreds of thousands of acres of new land for agriculture, for sand mining, for tourism, all of these things. So that infrastructure strategy, when man asks you if you can eat road, if we don't have this, we don't have any new lands. If we don't have this, we cannot achieve the vision that we're setting ourselves. And that is what we're about. Talking to you about a clearly defined vision. Understanding what investments are needed to ensure that vision is realized. But more importantly, committing to you to making the investment to realize that vision. And you know one thing you know for sure, you can always trust the People's Progressive Party Civic to do what we say we will do. If we tell you we will do something, you can go to bed knowing that we will do it and surpass it. That is the nature of the People's Progressive Party Civic. So, in infrastructure, we have a massive infrastructure development plan that looks at farm to market access road, direct support to farmers in developing their own land, the opening up of new lands, and giving access to land that is already there. Then the other issues that we will address, that of drainage and irrigation. Now, we have invested a lot in drainage and irrigation, but I believe the time has come for us to give the farmers the power to manage their own affairs by district. So one of the things that I am proposing, let us say Canal Number 1, for example. We have all the farmers in Canal Number 1. We assign to a farmers group 2 bobcat, 2 plow with tractor. We give them the capital equipment. And among themselves, they will have to maintain that capital equipment and keep it in operation, so you can't blame anybody no more. I don't want you to blame anybody. Whilst we do that, empower the farmers in this way so we can reduce your input costs, we're going to continue our investment in the main drainage areas, in a big drainage and complex drainage system. And all of this will be supported by the New Hope Light Canal that will deal with the issues of flooding. And in every one of the farming districts, we'll work with you on ensuring you have the mobile pumps. Important to this, all of this, is having data and information. Most times, we have response from the farmers themselves and the system after the event. But we want, and we're investing now, in a smart surveillance system, in an intelligence-led system being built right now with the support of ICA. What the system will do, every farmer now have a smartphone. Your phone will be your extension officer. Because the Ministry of Agriculture would now send out data and information in real time on your phones. If a pest is coming, if there is some issue coming up, you have advanced information, and they will give you the steps that you must take to avoid your crop being affected. So that we'll be deploying technology to aid production. to aid productivity and to help you in your production areas. We then have the issue, of course, of input costs. And a big part of that is the cost of fertilizer. Am I not right? So I said to the Minister of Agriculture, after consulting with farmers in the rice industry who are doing 1 to 30 acres, if you have 30 acres of rice, they said, listen, we have fertilizer from the last crop, give us the cash equivalent. So if you got 30 acres, that is $210,000. So I said to the minister, all those between 1 and 30 acres, if they want to get the cash equivalent, give them the cash equivalent to let them to help them. And then I said to him, because they tell me that if a man got half acre cash crop, you get a half bag fertilizer. I said, don't do stupidness. Minimum 1 bag fertilizer. If you got quarter, or half, or 3/4 acre, don't go and measure it by pound. So that's the second thing in terms of the immediate measure. But guess what? More importantly, we are going to have our own fertilizer plant built right here in Region 3 to support all the farmers in Guyana. But not a fertilizer plant owned by foreigners, so they will dictate the price. A fertilizer plant that will be owned by Guyanese and the government of Guyana. A co-investment. Because we want to create opportunities too for Guyanese to invest and get a return. So within 2 years, we'll have our own fertilizer plant that will bring down the cost of fertilizer here, and the government can address directly. We can control the profit line. Because we want those who are investing to get a return too. That again will support our production. But how about the investment in infrastructure that is important for your markets? And how do we reduce the cost between the period your produce is reaped to the time it goes to the market? Very important. That is why we are building back the Parika Stelling into an international port that we can export directly to the Caribbean from Parika. And in that facility, we'll have international cold storage. This is how the government will support the farmers. We'll have packaging house that you can go there and package your product. Everybody don't need to invest in your own packaging house. We'll have the cold storage that you will go there and put your produce in so that it extends the time and shelf life of your produce. And just as Massey bringing in stuff from the whole Caribbean, we have to get them to take our packaged stuff to all their supermarkets throughout the Caribbean. We have to ensure that every supermarket in Guyana carries a row of product made in Guyana, or agro-processing product, or fresh food. These are the initiatives that will lead to the massive transformation of the sector. So the Parika Port development, that will be billions of dollars. But we can have a port, but don't have the ferry service. So again, we will co-invest with the private sector to produce the ferry service that will take our produce from port to the markets in the region. That is the entire infrastructure plan. It's not only about the access to the farm, it's the access to the market. It's these major transformative investments that must be made now to give us that secure future ahead of us. Agro-processing facility. But then we also have in this region tens tens of thousands of new households that will be living in this region because of the expanded housing. 40, 50,000 new households will be in this region alone. Then we want to develop the Breeding Hope waterfront into a major tourism hub so that we create more demand. The prospects of this region and what lies ahead in this region is beyond imagination. Beyond imagination. And you just drive through this region in the last 4.5 years, and sometimes people forget, we had 2 years of COVID in this storm. 2 years that curtailed and restricted our work. But we were still out there. And if you drive through this region, in the backlands, frontlands, sidelines, downlands, uplands, and you can't see development, God bless your soul. And of course, we'll have the new bridge so that our farmers don't have to come and line up there from 1 in the morning to get their produce over. But more importantly, the new bridge comes free of cost. Free of cost. So, our investment, our plans, the resources we're going to spend is also going to more integrally link Wakenham, Hog Island, Leg One, Stamper, Baboon Island, Liberty, Lau Lau. Those are islands in close proximity to the mainland. And what we want to do with this infrastructure is to create a link. Why? Why? Everybody can't plant pumpkin. So we want everybody to convert, if you have 50 acres of land, for every 10 acre, we want you to convert 1 acre into a high production activity. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Let's go to Denham still, for example. Let's say Ned or somebody have 10 acres of land. We want to support that farmer to convert 1 acre into a high yielding activity. So if you have 10 acres of rice, and they're doing this in Vietnam, in India, where they have crab within the rice field. So if we go to, on a 10 acre, use it an Amstel example, we give you the fencing material, and you create a pasture. And then the government gives you 2 hybrid heifers, impregnated heifers. So in 9 months you have 4. And imagine you have 1,000 acres there. 1,000 divided by 10 is 100. Immediately you have 100 high-yielding pastures within that 1,000 acres of land. And we're going to support you with the animals and the material. Then we take this to livestock, to other forms of livestock. Sheep, swine production. This is the future we're talking about. Working with the farmers directly on this high-yielding conversion. Completing now the tests on onion production. Looking at one of the islands and converting the land there into onion production. Because if we produce 1,000 acres of onion in 2 cycles, we can almost satisfy our demand nationally. Imagine that. Remove the import and tell the same distributor, you buy back this onion and distribute it back through your network. That is what we're talking about. How do we convert the pine production, whether in Parika or in Canal, investing in the infrastructure to do the canning of the pine, to go to high-yielding markets, converting 1 acre of land into dragon fruit production, looking at all the high-yielding crops and support. That is the discourse we are going to have. That is where we are taking agriculture. If we can take an acre of land within a 10 acre and convert it into prawns production at Anvawa, we have 10 ponds there, 10 1-acre ponds. When we started the pilot, a lot of people said it's gone mad. Today, the pilot is successful. That investment in the coming year will turn over $1.7 billion annually. And you have a government that is saying to you, if we have 100 farmers with an acre each, we'll work with you in converting that 100 acres into the prawns production facility. The cage farming, and this is where our Fisherfolk comes in. How do we help you? And these things, look, let me tell you. Farmers today have to find multiple income sources from their land. So if we can take the mangrove that is regenerating, and we can take the cage, get the right variety crab, and do cage farming for crabs, and then have the processing facility where we can process the crab meat. Right now they have to import it for the hotels. You don't even get. You go to here, there's a crab back, and they charge you $5,000 for crab back. Throughout the Caribbean, all the hotels, the hotel chain, this is one of an important high-value product for them, crab meat. And we can do so in a natural environment, getting the cage crab in the natural environment, but in a sustainable way, so we don't have to depend on if crab bites this year or next year, or if the weather ain't good or something like that. We do it in a scientific and systemic way, so that we have continuous supply to the market. And that is what we have to discuss with our Fisherfolk. How do we get to involve in this? How do we get to involve in these additional source of income? How do we build a partnership? This is the future. This is what we're talking about ahead of us. And these are just some examples. Some examples of the ideas, the transformative ideas that we're talking about. And then, of course, when you look at the issue of rice, one of the important things for the rice farmer is price stabilization. I went to Region 5. The rice farmer said, if we can have a system where we know there's a guaranteed price between 3,800 and 4,000, it will give the farmers more confidence. Right, Sir Ned? And we're going to work with you on creating a fund and a mechanism to guarantee some sort of price stabilization for the farmers. For the rice. And whilst we're working on the high-yielding variety, the climate-resilient variety for flooding, and that is already going to be available, or if not available, we also are working on the crop insurance issue. For a matter of fact, we have a specific initiative that we are working with the UPI people. Where is battery? Battery here? The UPI people to have a co-investment for the first year where we can provide the insurance for the rice farmers. Creating that mechanism. The first country that will take this bold step so we reduce the risk by the initial investment is the first country that will take such a bold step. This is not imagination. This is a vision that is before us today. Then you have market penetration. Most countries, large producers of rice, and we're going to be a major producer also. What is important is drying and storage facility. World-class drying and storage facility. So when you have overproduction, you have the capacity to store until markets get better, price gets better. And that is what we have to invest to in every region. The drying and the storage facility. And then putting our farmers with 0 to 30 acres together in different farming groups or rice farmers. And then giving them their own combine that they will manage, that they can use. They don't have to go and deduct back from the miller. The miller, when they're paying them for the paddy, don't have to deduct fuel, combine, plowing. We want to give them and empower them with that equipment so that they can reduce their costs. But ultimately, the responsibility will be on you to manage it, to care it. You destroy it, it's your problem. You don't have a next one to get back. Because we have to learn in this country to take responsibility for our future too. We have to move away from our irresponsible behavior. A new road finished, a man dump a big sand inside in the middle of the road and start mixing cement right there. We have to love ourselves. We have to love who we are. We have to love our future. We have to love what is in our community and take care of it. We're not going to shy away from the important subject matters. And then co-investment. To support agriculture, we're going to set aside money as a government to co-invest with you. What do I mean? Right now, we are building a world-class food hub of the highest standard that will take all our food, can it, package it, to go for international high-value market. We are going to sign the MOU very soon with an international company that will do the marketing, branding, and everything. They're called Bloomberg Grains. Bloomberg Grains. They're going to manage it. They're going to ensure that it's up to the latest US certification, and they will keep it there. That is what we're doing. We're not talking, we're working. So the co-investment also has a very important element. What is that element? The interest rate for housing did not come down by accident. You can't jump in a fancy car and pull up and get 1,000 people who want to take out photograph and the interest rate for housing will come down. It came down through understanding how the economy works, understanding how system works, understanding the banking system, understanding how fiscal incentive can help to bring down the cost of interest. That is why today we were able to bring down interest costs. Not only today, when the PP first came to office, interest rate for housing was more than 38%. People didn't even have land to build a home. We brought it down to less than 10%. Today, we have brought down interest rate to 3.5% for low-income loans and moderate-income loans. And this is what we want to do now. For the farmers, the co-investment from the government will reduce the risk on the loan to the bank. And once you're able to reduce the risk for the lender, then there must be also a benefit that comes from those who are borrowing. So we have to co-invest and co-finance through a development fund to first reduce the risk. When we reduce the risk, we then give fiscal incentive on the taxation side to the banking sector, similarly to what we're doing for housing, so that your interest rate on agriculture will come down from what 10% you're paying now, 8% from 10% to less than 4%. That is where we're heading. That is the ecosystem we're creating to support access to capital, access to funds. Because we give you access to the land, we increase the value of the land, we give you infrastructure, we build out the markets, but we now must give you access to capital. So this plan, these initiatives are holistic in nature. They're well articulated. Where is the planting chip? Do I have any? The agro-processing facility, that's the same one? Bring it. That's the same, we know. And farmers, we have to be fair. There is no sense. Now, ma'am, you want to plant and you give me empty back? Yeah. Farmers, let me say something to you. You can go to a market, and if they got bad crop, the price gone to $100 per pound. And when they got good crop, the price gone to $30 per pound. To make these agro-processing facility viable, we have to sit down together and agree on a fair price that you supply year come, year go. Are we together? Because the system will only work if we have a fair price that helps the competitiveness of the product. So cassava, plantain, Edo, all of these things now we're going to package. Yesterday in Region 2, the people didn't even know. We built an agro-processing facility that can take all the overproduction of mangoes in Queenstown. To that facility, and they can pulp it and dry it and make the dry mango fruits in the package that you buy for $1,000, $2,000 in the supermarket. So we want to do all, these are the things. These are the things that would add value. These are the things that Bloomberg would help us. So we'll have our own mixed fruits. Our own mixed fruits package. The dry fruits. Hey, look at Pre-Manichan. See how she's losing weight? Eating plenty of them good things. Plenty mixed fruits. Everybody, you go through the airport, they have the mixed fruits package. Dried, simple process. And guess what? Ours can be highly organic. So it is converting waste. It's converting overproduction into value. That's an important part of the agricultural plan. So the other areas, I know I told you that I'm here to listen to you and your ideas, so I'm not going to take much longer. The other areas that are critical, I spoke about, is diversification, income stratification, that is giving you a more broad-based income. So not only rice alone if you have 10 acres, but converting that to 1 acre. Reducing your input costs and the cost of production with fertilizer, agrochemicals, and all of these things. Climate smart and resilient agriculture. In every farming district, we want our young people and our children, our young people and women, we want, see, this is what I'm talking about. The new planting chip from the packaging factory at Torika. My partner from Wakenham supplied the first set of plant, you know. Look. Full crunch and everything. Try it, baby. Try it. Look. Try it. Try it. How good is it? Tell me.
Tastes good.
Right, see? And that is what we want. Our young people, like my, come around here. Come around here. Our young children coming up now must eat our packaged plantain and cassava and Edo and say it tastes good. So we build it in the psyche of the next generation so they know that Guyanese product tastes good, high quality, good for your body, healthy. It's creating the new narrative, the new wave. And this is what is very good. You got a nice color shirt too. Then we have to see on the climate smart agriculture. Like my young friend here. He might want to go up and be a doctor. But he can also be an entrepreneur in agriculture. So in every district, we want to take 10, 15 acres of hard surface, create hard surface, and put hydroponics facility, especially to support those our fisher folk. When they gone out, their partner, whether their husband or wife, can be working in there in a safe environment, putting in safety measures, high value crop, climate resilient, climate smart, reducing your losses, reducing the impact of production as a result of weather. These food production districts, creating agriculture district, food production district, where we have everything within that district, the storage, the processing, all of that. These are the initiatives, these are the plans, these are the programs supporting, he's okay, that's okay, supporting our farmers, to support, I lost track of what I was going to tell you. The food production district is not only to support agriculture, but to support an entire ecosystem that will generate employment, create opportunities, build entrepreneurs, but importantly, bring pride in agriculture and food production. Your children must not look at it as something I don't want to be in. It must bring pride. It must bring pride in their food production. You know, we are going to continue to work, and as I said, our fisher folk, not only investing in infrastructure for you, but finding fiscal measures in which we can transfer directly to you, help to enable capital investment, to enable security when you're out there, to enable better storage, and to give you additional alternative income generating opportunity. And we'll have specific meetings to deal with that. In the coming days ahead, this economy in Region 3 would have $1.5 billion injected in one thing alone, the Because We Care brand. That is at $55,000 now, that will continue to grow and grow. We are your dependable partner. We are your partner you can trust. The future is yours. I am your chief servant. I know no other way. The future is yours. You can gamble it away. You can race it away. You can, in a fanciful wish list, wish it away. But the only thing I can tell you is that we are the partner you can trust and rely on to make it happen for you. In life, it is not only about the now, it's about the day to come. It's about the day to come. Faith without work is dead. Trust without track record is equally dead. If you can't trust your children, not to raid their piggy bank. How are you going to teach them to build a strong future? If you can't trust your neighbor to leave your duck alone and don't give you the gravy. You know the duck story? Ned, you didn't borrow one of me duck a time. So Ned and my father and family came back a long way. So let me tell you something. If your neighbor capture you duck in the night and bunjal it next day, and then your neighbor call you over and give you some gravy, and then neighbor say, better thank me for feeding you. He give you anything? Huh? He give you anything? And if you tell the neighbor you one piece of meat, he can say you're ungrateful. You should be thankful for the gravy. So imagine, I take from you 100 of your duck and give you back a duck too. And then I tell you, I am charitable. May the Lord be with you, bless you, keep you, and make his face to shine upon you. Thank you very much, and God bless all of you.